Hello, Victory and Praise Connection. Yes, I'm going to talk to you from Proverbs chapter number 4, and we're going to begin at verse number 20. Proverbs 4, verse number 20 in the NIV version. Just a quick word about wisdom, how to deal with wisdom, and pay attention. That's what I'm going to call it. Pay attention. Pay attention. The first verse it says, my son, pay attention to what I say. The interesting thing is that have you ever had a situation where you were talking to someone and for the life of you, they were not paying attention? And you said, did you hear what I said? Yeah, I heard you. And you asked them to rehearse what you just said, and they said, don't know. Paying attention means that you hear not just with your ears, but you hear with your mind. That you hear with your cognitive. You hear so that you can retrieve, your memory can retrieve, whether it be short-term or file it away to long-term memory, so that you can understand. The Bible talks about understanding being the principal thing. So that you can understand and that you can have insight, so you can see into what that person is saying, so that you can walk in it, so that you can have understanding is to walk in something, to see yourself being able to apply that within your own living situation, within your own realm in which you live. To pay attention, it is that I live in that very word that I'm hearing, that I see myself actually engaging and doing what that person says. I see that as part of my identity, if you please. And so he says, my son, pay attention to what I say. To pay attention is to have fruit of what he says. It is to hear what he says, not just to listen, but to hear what is being said. We don't let anything obstruct what God has given us and what wisdom has given us. But not only that, is that I open up so that I can produce. So when I'm hearing, when I pay attention, it is with the end goal that I produce based upon what I heard. He says, pay attention to what I say, turn your ear, incline your ear to my word. Look favorably upon what I'm about to say. I know that you can't understand it. You may not have seen it before. You may not have came into it before, but lean in to listen to what I'm about to say, because you don't want to miss anything that I'm about to say, because it's impactful for your life. He says, do not let, verse number 21, do not let them out of your sight. In other words, sight is not only your visual, but also your mental sight. Your mental sight is synonymous with understanding. Don't let them out of your understanding. Keep them within your repertoire. Keep them within your tool bag, that anytime you need to access it, you will have it and it's available to recall. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep your gaze on what I'm about to say. Keep your focus in on what I'm about to say. Keep them in your heart. Your heart is the core of your being. It is not only the heart that gives and pumps blood throughout the body, but as it relates to this poetic wisdom book, it is talking about the core of your being. It's talking about the way you live at. It's not your facade. It's your mind and the voice that comes to you that you identify as you. He says, let them, what I'm saying to you, stay in your sight, your understanding, keep them within your heart, your identity, for they are life. The word life, they are the ability to thrive. They are the ability to produce. They are the ability to continue to exist, not only as a baser individual, not only as a earthen individual, but also as a being that reflects God, the likeness of God, the image of God. So, he says, do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them. Those concepts, those wisdom principles are life to those who find them. In other words, he's saying that when you have wisdom and you understand it and you are willing to produce it, it will do great things for our lives collectively. If there's a part of your heart, it's a part of your core being, if it's a part of your life, that it will not betray you, it will not abandon you, and that anytime you need it, wisdom, what is being said, will also produce in your life great dividends. For they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body. Above all else, verse number 23, above all else, guard your heart, guard your identity, guard the core of your life, guard who you are. He says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Jesus said it like this, it's not washing hands that defiles us, but it's what's coming out of our heart that defiles us. Most of the time we want to cosmetically make ourselves up and make ourselves look appropriate for people. If you really want to make yourself appropriate for people, if that's your motive, my motive is to make myself appropriate for God. But if that's your motive, to make yourself appropriate and suitable in the midst of people, that you need to check your heart. Because out of your heart, that's where murder is coming from. Out of your heart, that's where thievery is coming from. Out of your heart is coming every evil thing that's going to corrupt us. And so that's why we have to pay attention to what's coming out of our heart. And we have to guard it. We have to protect it. We have to protect what's coming in. We have to protect what's going to intrude. We have to protect what's going to invade our heart. And the way you do that is through what you listen to and what you see. And in other words, what you take in, what you take into your body, what you take into your mind, what you take into the core of your being. He says, above all, you have to guard your heart. You, I. This is not a God thing here. This is us. We have a responsibility to guard our heart. We're not a victim here. You can choose to turn on the television and watch crazy garbage. You can choose to turn on the radio or turn on your iPad and watch crazy garbage and listen to crazy garbage. You can choose to do that and produce junk in your mind. Junk in, junk comes out. Junk in, garbage comes out. And then don't be surprised when it flows out of you. Because out of your heart, for everything flows. Everything flows. Have you ever been in a conversation where something you said you were embarrassed about? I guarantee you there's a linear line that you can trace it right back to what you've been thinking about, or what you've been seeing, or what you heard, and you didn't dismiss it, and you kept on listening to it, even in your secret place, even in your secret time, and you kept on digesting it. Junk in, junk comes out. Good stuff in, nutritious stuff in, nutritious stuff comes out. Positive stuff comes in, positive stuff comes out. Honest stuff goes in, honest stuff comes out. So he says, Above all else, guard your heart. Above everything, but above all else, guard your heart. For everything you do flows from it. Everything. Not some things. Everything you do. If you want to know why you're talking negative, it's because you're thinking negative. If you want to know why you have low self-esteem, it's because you hear it, you see it, you start pondering it, and you start saying, yeah, I can't do anything right. Everything always is wrong in my life. And instead of analyzing, what am I taking in through my eye gate? What am I taking in through my ear gate? Who am I listening to? What am I listening to? What is it? Quality? Is it something that's based upon the Word of God? Hmm? And so here he says, everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that flows from out of you, your actions, your conversation, even though you bring in, the way you see out. Wow. Because your heart filters and your heart gives you imagery that you are hard pressed not to look through the lens of your mind when you see. Your lens of your mind colors what you see. And so if my mind says something about me, I project that, if I'm not careful, on somebody else. Somebody I don't even know. Somebody I'm acquainted with. I misjudge people. I have a bias toward people. I have hatred toward people. I choose not to be around people. Not based upon anything I know. It's just because I have these images and these concepts and this ideology and this philosophy in my head that I can't see you as being in my life. It says, out of it, everything do you flow from it. So that's why we have to guard our heart. And we have to keep our mouth from perversity. Keep corrupt talk from your lips. And so God says that our lips are not meant to corrupt people. Our lips are not meant to bring people down. Our lips are meant to edify people and bless people. That's the design. Verse number 25, let your eyes look straight ahead. Don't be distracted. Fix your gaze directly before you. Give careful thought to the paths your feet, and be steadfast in all your ways. Don't be distracted easily. Nothing can be gained and accessed by you being distracted. One thing have I desired, that will I seek after. We have to keep our focus in on one thing. We're not designed as humans to be in between two opinions. And so God wants us to be people who seize the moment, seize the opportunity, seize what is in front of us, deal with that, tackle it, conquer it, go on to the next assignment. And so he says, fix your eyes on what you're going to do. Fix your eyes on what is before you. Don't fix your eyes on that which is behind you. Fix your eyes on what you can attain before you. And give careful. Careful is that I have a strategy. I have a plan. I'm strategic in the way I approach it. Give careful thought. Be deliberate to the path of your feet in the direction that you're going. Give careful thought to what you're planning to do with your life. Give careful thought to what you're planning to do in your future. Give careful thought on what you're planning to do in your near future. Give careful thought on what you're planning to do with your company, with your family, Give careful thought to what you're doing with your ministry. Give careful thought to what you're doing with your education. Give careful thought. Where do I want to end up at? What is my goal? What is my aspiration? So give careful thought to the paths for your feet and be steadfast. In other words, when you lock and load on what you have planned to do and for your life, continue to pursue after it. Continue to do it and persevere, because it's going to be hard work. It's going to be hard work. You have God's favor. You have God's grace. Rarely does anything come easy in life. Most of the time, you have to be diligent and you have to be steadfast. You have to be relentless in all your ways to achieve what you want in life. So do not turn to the right. Do not turn to the left. Keep your foot from evil. Keep your foot from doing things that are wicked. Don't go the easy way out. Don't go the quick fix way. Do the grind. Do what God has for you to do, to plant it, to cultivate it first, to plant it, to water it, to nurture it, that you get some type of harvest from it. You have to work it. You have to work it. Whatever it is, whatever wisdom says, whatever it is, if it's losing weight, you have to work it. If it's going to school, you have to work it. If it's being married, you have to work it. And keep your focus in on, if it's being single, you have to work it. Keep your focus in on what your prize is, what your goal is. If it's being an entrepreneur, you have to work it. If it's being a place where you work for someone, you have to work it. If you're going up the corporate ladder, you have to work it. You have to stay focused. Pay attention to wisdom. Let it penetrate into your heart. Don't deviate from what wisdom tells you, that you can be what you have planned for you to be, and just stay the path. Because out of your mind, out of your heart, it's going to flow those things that are going to position you, position me in where we need to be. So God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. May he keep you in the center of his most holy will. Pay attention.